Christine, Christine, Wait for me, Christine. I'm coming home right now. Woo, woo. I'm gonna smash your faces. I'm gonna smash your faces, baby. I'm gonna smash your faces. Oh yeah, my paper doll. Oh yeah, I'm gonna kick your teeth in. I'm gonna kick your teeth in, baby. I'm gonna kick your teeth in. Oh yeah, my paper doll.
Hello, my name is Laurice, and I was an international recording star. And this is my story.
Rock me through the night. Hold me to the very top. Oh, let all your love run through me. Now that your mind just rocked. Rock me through the dance. Love me everywhere. Yeah, let all your love flow through me. Now that you get into me, baby, I have. Baby, I have. Rock me through the night. Come on and rock me through the night. Yeah, baby, rock me through the night. Ooh, baby, rock me through the night. Come on and rock.
Hi there, my name is Larry Dean Norton, and this is Laurice.
Hello.
You know, Laurice, there was a price to pay for being a talented out gay music artist in the 1970s and 80s,
That's right.
and you paid a heavy price for living your truth in a very intolerant music environment. Now, let's share your story, Laurice, and have kind of a celebration of your life. Laurice, you've had some very dramatic ups and downs in a career that spans over 50 years in the music recording industry, from punk rock pioneer to internationally famous disco diva to smooth jazz songster, producer, and songwriter in the UK, Canada, and the USA. You seem to have done it all.
Well, yes, I have done a lot, and it wasn't easy, but I can hardly believe that I have been enjoying recently a revival of a career I thought was dead in the water.
That's right. I'm interested in how your gay activism affected your career.
I can't blame my successes or failures just on my gay activism. And thank God I did. I chose to ignore all those signs, and I'm very glad that I did,
That's true.
because I never would have got as far as I've got without ignoring it, without pressing on. You just have to press on. And I have to tell you, that's my advice to all young artists. Press on. Don't let them stop you. It really is very important.
That's great. Now, Laurice, let's start at the beginning. Where were you born, and how did those circumstances there affect your career? I'm interested in how your gay activism affected your career.
Yes, I had to face an enormous amount of homophobia in the US and in Europe. I mean, it really was bad in North America too, Canada included. And I really kind of envy the young artists of today who probably don't have to put up with so much homophobia. I'm not saying it doesn't happen anymore, but it it's there.
That's right.
But I really wish that I'd had the chances that young artists today have. I mean, I don't. That's why I really admire an artist like Adam Lambert, who is a fantastically talented artist with a long career ahead of him. I wrote to him just before he became famous, and he wrote back to me. That was really nice. I'm a fan. I'm a fan.
Now, Laurice, let's start at the beginning. Where were you born, and how did those circumstances there affect your career?
Well, I'm old. I was born in 1944 in the middle to the end of the Second World War in Rose-on-Sea, a little town on the North Wales coast in the UK. It was beautiful. The Irish Sea, green fields, lovely mountains. Oh, it was a very, very beautiful place.
Sounds idyllic.
Oh, yes. It would have been idyllic. I mean, when I was a small boy, we lived in a beautiful white house called Sunshine House, overlooking a little park in Rose-on-Sea. It was really beautiful. And I stayed there until, I was about 4 or 5 years old. And then my father lost everything in his business. And we had to move into a small semi-detached house. And I think that's where the problem started, because, it was a very dysfunctional family. I had 2 sisters, but my father had a short stint in the RAF. My mother was a professional singer who was evacuated to North Wales during the war. That's how they met. But I'm afraid, from my point of view, I think it was a marriage made in hell, because it was a very dysfunctional family. My father refused to argue with my mother, so my mother took it out on me, and she was very unbalanced. Maybe I should throw a veil over that one, because, I mean, it was really terrifying.
So you were really unhappy.
So yes, what I did was I escaped into music. It seemed to me my only outlet. I modeled my voice, I suppose, on the artists at the time,
So you modeled your vocals on female artists.
particularly female singers like Vera Lynn and Doris Day. I just loved those people, Harry James. I just loved them all. And I kind of advanced to my idol, Dusty Springfield, who I absolutely adore. What an artist, what a fantastically talented singer. I mean, she really was. I also liked Elvis Presley. I really loved him, particularly his early Sun records. I mean, they were incredible. I mean, his Sun recording sessions were one for the ages. The man was so talented, and that's what happened, really.
So how did your songwriting come about?
My father bought me a big old Grundig tape recorder when I was about 8. Helped enormously with my vocals, and I was able to style it exactly how I wanted. So that was really something. I really enjoyed it.
But why didn't you learn music?
My music teacher, I went for a lesson with him, and he called my mother and he said, "Your son is very, very talented. I don't want him to show him the rules of music, because the rules would limit him." So I just didn't learn music.
So you were in good company with the Beatles.
Yes, in company with the Beatles. They were so incredible. Yes.
Did you sing at all while at college or university? And was it well received?
Oh, I didn't tell people in school about my songwriting. I don't know why, I just kept it to myself. I was in the school choir. In Manchester, I went to St. John's College of Education, and then I worked for a year before going to university. While I was at college, I did a folk concert, actually, performed for the whole school. Even though I'm not really a folk singer, it was a big success. And when I went to university and in St. John's College too, I was in plays, and I always, it's a terrible thing to say, I always seem to take the curtain calls. Seem to wipe everybody else off the map.
That's very funny. What about acting as a profession? What stopped you from doing that?
I think I would have become a really good, at least character actor if I'd wanted to. But what stopped me was I went to see Laurice in the 1960 film The Entertainer, and that film was enough to put you off repertory theatre for the rest of your life. And I thought, no way do I want to do that. And repertory theatre for actors was a very, very hard slog in those days, and I didn't want it. I'd much rather be in a recording studio, actually. That's the truth.
Well, Laurice, that's a very interesting take on your career decisions. Now I'd like to turn to how you coped being a young gay man in the UK.
You have to know that being gay in England at that time, the 60s and 70s, was really, could be a horrendous experience. I remember when I was at college in Manchester, I used to go to this gay club, which was constantly raided by the police. And I remember leaving. 5 minutes later, the club was raided. I was very lucky. I just escaped it. I suppose I was lucky. It was really bad there. I remember the very first time I went into a gay bar in Manchester. I was at college and I was scared to death. I think I was like 19 or something. And this guy picked me up and I spent the weekend with him. I was a complete novice. I had no idea what I was doing. But anyway, it was fun. I went back to North Wales and told my mother that I was gay and I'd been with somebody, and she went berserk. She ripped my clothes off my body and soaked them in Dettol, an antiseptic, in the bath, and soaked my clothes out for a week, saying, God knows who you've been with.
Oh, Laurice, that's terrible.
Well, anyway, my father couldn't take a bath for a week. He was clueless. He didn't know. Years later, I went up from London to North Wales to see my parents. It didn't go well, particularly with my mother. So I decided to leave that very evening, and I had my father drive me to the railway station to catch the midnight train for London. And I told my father that I was gay, and he immediately reacted by throwing my bags out of the car and saying, I'm not listening to this filth, and drove off. I was absolutely crushed. I felt really terrible. So I climbed up the stairs to the signal box where the signal man was. It was very dark and quiet, and he could see that I was distressed. And he asked me to sit down, and I stayed there, told him I'd had a terrible argument with my father. And he stayed with me until the midnight train came back to London. He was very kind.
Oh, that's quite a story. How very sad. Tell me, did you do any recording at this time?
One of my earliest demo recordings was a song I wanted to give to Dusty Springfield. I didn't get it to her, but I loved the song. It was called Heartbreak House. And some years later, Penny Lane recorded it.
Packing up my bags and leaving Heartbreak House goodbye. Closing all the doors and like a bird, I'm gonna fly. I search for happiness I never knew. I go the road alone, yeah, just like you. Maybe I will find that I was right and you were.
She did a good job too. So I was really pleased with that.
Penny Lane? Oh, I'm sure you were. So you left college and went to London. How was your time in London, Laurice?
Well, London was a very up and down experience for me.
So what you have told me before, it sounded like you have a lot of different activities going on.
I had gone to London a couple of years before to make a demo for a gentleman who became a good friend of mine, Peter Baum, who was first engineer at Abbey Road.
Oh, really? Abbey Road of the Beatles fame.
He also had a little recording studio in Eltham, and when I got to London, I started making demos for him and Alan Parsons. The deal was that they would do my songs and I would sing their songs. And I have to say, it was a wonderful experience for me because I was able to harness all my abilities as far as shaping my sound, shaping my voice. I sung everything: rock, ballads, folk, R&B. I mean, the lot. It was wonderful.
But things are not what they seem. You feel you're walking on air, and then you're telling you care. You'll see a smile fade away, and then his love will grow cold. He'll leave you there on cloud nine, and then you're saying goodbye. Well, it's back to the house in the big fancy yacht. The very good wife that he loves quite a lot. Won't you tell me just where you fit in, girl?
Swiftly by.
I'll try not to forget it all. Just hope the day would come when we'd be one, but the truth was just a lie. I'm packing up my bags and waving heartbreak house goodbye. I'm closing all the doors and like a bird I'm gonna fly. I'll search for happiness I never knew. I'll go the road alone, yeah, just like you. Maybe I will find that I was right and you are wrong. It makes no difference what I do.
It sounds like an ideal situation for you, and it really helps you hone your craft. And tell me, Laurice, what was your take on Alan Parsons?
Well, I'm in awe of his arranging abilities. He was an incredible arranger. I mean, when I listened to the demos we did at Elton, his arrangements were unbelievable. I mean, I would snap him up as an arranger in a nanosecond.
And your gay activism in London?
Well, the gay activism part was quite something. I was sort of in and out of the closet. I went to this group called Icebreakers, and they were very helpful. But I decided to sign on as a volunteer at London Gay News for the crisis line, and boy, was that something.
I'm sure it was. Any phone calls that stand out?
Oh, I had to talk somebody off a ledge who wanted to throw himself off a building in Holland.
How awful.
Other things like that, it were awful. But Dennis Lemon, who was the owner of London Gay News, he came up to me once and said, you know, Laurice, we're fine now, but when we double our circulation, they'll try and shut us down. And he was right. When they doubled their circulation, Mrs. Whitehouse, who was the Phyllis Schlafly of the UK, tried to shut London Gay News down. It was awful. The homophobia was terrible.
I'm very sorry to hear all that. Mrs. Whitehouse had a lot to answer for, and so did Phyllis Schlafly. But I know that wasn't the be-all and end-all of your activism in the UK.
My gay activism, actually, what happened was I went on a trip to Canada and America in the autumn of 1974. I loved it, made friends with quite a few people, and came back to London. In December of 1974, I was asked to be the liaison host for the American contingent to the Edinburgh First International Gay Conference, hosted by Ian Dunn and Derek Hogg. And it was quite an experience.
That must have been quite difficult keeping everything together.
Well, yes, it was hard, but I managed to slip away, and I had a torrid weekend with this big, gorgeous Australian man. He was like a blonde, fabulously handsome Hollywood film star. We did Edinburgh Castle and had a few stolen hours at a hotel. We were nearly caught by a Scottish maid who wanted to turn down the bed.
Wow.
Gay stuff was absolutely illegal in Scotland at the time. So it was living on the edge, as it were. But it was fun. Oh, it was fun. But as I said before, it was hard.
Well, that sounds like a lot of fun, Laurice, but what happened at the conference?
It was hard, very hard, what happened at the conference. The serious side of it was that it was a very emotionally charged conference, particularly from the contingent from Ireland. That was really, really awful. But it was quite a dramatic experience because they were so persecuted in Ireland at that time. It was just awful. I met Frank Comeny from Washington. He was one of the people there. It was very exciting. I knew a lot of the luminaries in the gay liberation of the time. It really was. What really kind of horrified me was we did a march through Edinburgh on the Friday through Edinburgh at rush hour. And I'll never forget this woman with her little boy clutching this little boy in absolute, she was terrified in the shop doorway as we walked past, like we were going to kill her or something. It was just so awful. I thought, we have a very, very long way to go. And we do. We still do.
Well, that sounds like a lot of dramatic things happening up there in Scotland. And you're right. We still have a long way to go fighting homophobia. Before you tell us exactly how your music career progressed in London, Laurice, I would like you to tell the audience about the gay rock music that you recorded. How did that come about?
I decided to record 4 gay rock songs that I'd composed. Nobody else was doing it. And I thought, I'm going to do it. He's My Guy, Rock Hard, Born to Serve. I just had to do it. You can hear them on Best of Laurice, Volume 1, the vinyl album's Practice Smash. And I didn't realize what I was doing at the time. I was influenced by people like Lou Reed, who I love. I loved his song Vicious. I just loved it. And particularly the searing guitar on it. And I just didn't know what I was doing, but I just enjoyed the whole experience. Oh, it was great. I thoroughly enjoyed doing it. I financed it myself. And I'm very glad that I did. But of course, it didn't see the light of day till many years later.
Maybe, but they are regarded as gay rock classics now.
Yes.
Now, Laurice, you are considered such a pioneer in proto-punk rock. What is the story behind When Christine Comes Around and I'm going to Smash Your Face In?
Oh, well, it's a long story about how When Christy Comes Around and I'm Going to Smash Your Face In was made. I mean, the two songs are like cult underground punk classics, and I just love performing them. I'm always asked to perform them wherever I go. It's a lot of fun. Well, the story is, if you must know, my good friend Simon Potter, he's called Simon God on the release. Anyway, after we left college, I used to visit Simon at his flat in Wimbledon and stay overnight. And every time I used to go, it seemed that this holy girl who lived upstairs, Christine, would always knock on the door, plump herself on a chair, and not move for hours, and Simon and I couldn't talk. And we were very polite. We couldn't ask her to leave. It was really awful. But it was so inappropriate because Simon already had a girlfriend, Mary, who eventually married. He eventually married Mary, and she knew this, that Simon had a girlfriend, but she insisted on coming over. And it was really awful. And we were so angry. That night, she stayed and stayed and stayed So in the morning, Simon was driving me back into London, and we were crossing London Bridge, and we thought we should write a song about this. And we wrote the whole thing in 20 minutes. It was amazing. And then this took a really bizarre turn because we decided to investigate Tin Pan Alley in Soho, which was where all the music agents and everything was in those days. Really seedy, but anyway, we actually entered the offices of Cyril Black. Cyril was the brother of Sir Stanley Black, who was a very famous band leader. And Black was the right name for Cyril because Cyril was definitely the black sheep of the family. Well, I mean, just imagine, the spectacles, the balding head, the avariciousness. I mean, he was too much, but lots of pizzazz, lots of personality. Well, we sang him When Christine Comes Around, and he loved it.
That's quite a story, Laurice.
Absolutely loved it. And then things took an even more bizarre turn.
You mean there's more?
He introduced us to an actual heiress, a rich lady who we sang the song to. She loved it. And before I knew it, I was in the studio recording When Christine Comes Around. Well, they needed a B-side, so I wrote, I'm Gonna Smash Your Face In. That's how it happened. And of course, it was banned immediately by the BBC, which was the only game in town at that time. It was banned, but it was a big underground hit. Both of them were. Actually, When Christine Comes Around is very popular in the UK. I'm Gonna Smash Your Face In is even more popular in North America. And I performed them both on stage very, very successfully. I'm always asked about them.
I see. Very good. So what did you do when you actually got to London? Did you get a music gig right away?
I worked for a famous songwriter for about a year, and then I became a talent scout and songwriter for Pi Records Marble Arch Music. And it was a very sobering experience, I can tell you.
And what did you mean by that?
I had a couple of my songs stolen.
Oh no, really?
And there they were on the charts. And when I asked my publisher what was going on, I said, those are my songs. He said, yes, but what are you going to do about it? He said, you don't have any money to sue us. And, that really sobered me up. I wanted out of the contract.
That is absolutely terrible, Laurice.
But while I was in Pi Records, I recorded a lot. That's how I got Flying Saucers Have Landed.
Oh, yes. One of your most popular songs.
Flying saucers have landed. Flying saucers have landed. Flying saucers have landed all over the world. Flying saucers have landed. That's the way that they've landed. Flying saucers have landed all over the world. They will return. They will return. Flying saucers have landed all over the world. That's what they say. That's what they say. That's the way to the people now. Flying saucers have landed all over the world. They will return. They will return to the people now. Flying saucers have landed.
Which you can hear on Best of Laurice Volume 2. It's really great. One of the things I liked about Pi Records was that they got Stephanie de Sykes to record Only Love. She was the main actress in the famous Crossroads series at the time. She did a really good job of my song.
Can you see Can you see? Only love, my friend is real. Only love, only love, only love, only love, my friend is real. Only love, baby, only love.
Only love. Anything else?
Also, I wrote a song called Carry On Loving, which went into the Carry On London musical, which ran for years in the West End. I was there at the premiere of it. It was a very exciting experience for me. So that was really nice.
We must carry on loving. Oh, we must carry on loving. Yeah, we must carry on loving. And spread this loving all over the world. We must carry on loving. Oh, we must carry on loving. Oh, we must carry on loving. And spread this loving all over the world. Well,
Nice. Very catchy song. What a thrill to have a song in a West End musical.
Yes, it's true. That was really nice.
Anything else?
Well, it was very thrilling when I was at Pi Records that I had a song recorded and performed on TV by two Welsh miners who won Opportunity Knocks, which was a big talent show at the time, hosted by Hughie Green. And they came first and they sung my song, I Want Our World to Be Like a Beautiful Garden. And I think it's one of the nicest songs I've ever written.
I want our world to be like a beautiful garden, like a beautiful garden with love to share and plenty more to spare. I want our world to be filled with such beautiful rainbows, with colors deep and wide and bright.
Oh, yes.
They did a lovely job on it. I was so thrilled. They did another one, a B-side called Miss You, which I also did as well.
And don't forget, because I looked it up, you also wrote a song for this duo called I Still Remember You.
Yes, that's right.
I'm assuming you also wrote quite an assortment of songs at Pi Records.
And I don't remember everything, but there were a few songs that I really was glad that I wrote and produced.
Any that stand out?
Spiv,
I'm going crazy! Oh, you beautiful child, look what you've done to my heart. Oh, you beautiful child, look what you've done to my heart.
Odyssey.
she brings me love. 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 Oh, why can I believe? Why can I believe that you love me? Why can I believe? Oh, why can I believe that it's true? Can I be so sure that you'll never walk away? Just leave me. Why can't I believe? Why can't I believe?
Wow. Written for Shirley Bassey, no doubt.
That's right. what was funny was, an aside here, my father was so enraged and disgusted with me after hearing When Christy Comes Around and I'm going to smash your face in. He said, to think that a son of mine could possibly do anything like that. I'm disgusted with you. I don't want to hear a thing. Well, 2 weeks later, I took Weenie Bopper in to a recording studio to record my song, David, Donny and Michael. And David, Donny and Michael, that was a tribute to David Cassidy, Donny Osmond and Michael Jackson, who were the teen faves of the time.
Oh, David, Donny, Michael, we love you all. And I just can't stop dreaming about you, can't stop thinking about you, can't stop talking about you now. Yes, we love you all. Yes, we
I have
love
to tell
you all.
you, Weenie Bopper was the most professional artist I have ever worked with. She really was good. She grew up to become Rachel Fury of Pink Floyd fame. Wonderful professional artist. And when my father heard that, well, I was immediately forgiven. I thought it was so funny. Oh, I must have put him through hell.
That's very funny, Laurice. Your songwriting and publishing at Pi Records really kept you busy.
And it was a very sobering experience, I can tell you. I had a couple of my songs stolen,
Stolen songs. That's terrible, Laurice.
and there they were on the charts. And when I asked my publisher what was going on, I said, those are my songs. He said, yes, but what are you going to do about it? He said, you don't have any money to sue us. And, you know, that really sobered me up. I wanted out of the contract.
I think that's terrible that those songs are stolen from you and for your publisher to actually admit it. That's awful.
It really was quite something. But overhanging it all was I felt trapped with Pi Records because they were stealing my songs and giving them to other songwriters. I suppose in a way it's flattery, sort of, but I wasn't flattered. But the pierce of resistance came when there was a #1 American record and the verse was stolen from one of my songs and I didn't have the money to do anything about it. It was awful.
That's outrageous, Laurice.
Well, yes, true.
Any other records that you made besides Pi Records?
I did make a record at Air London Records with Roger Cook of Cook of Greenway, I'd Like to Teach the World to Sing fame. And it was called All I Want to Do Is Sit and Cry. And after that session, that's what I wanted to do.
Baby, baby, all I want to do is sit and cry for you. Yes, all I want to do is cry. Since you went away, I cried the whole night through. Now all I want to do.
In those days, most British session musicians, professional ones in London, didn't have a swing to them. Everything was kind of rigid. You're sort of jerked their way through a poppy number, and they had no idea at all how to do an R&B song. So it was tough going. You know, it really was. And of course, the song died a terrible death at the BBC, like every other British record seemed to be doing, apart from a few notable exceptions.
Now, I think I've heard you say that the British artists were being blocked out by the American artists on the BBC, which was the only game in town for pop records.
This was because the BBC at the time, I don't know whether it was payola or not, there have been articles about it, they only wanted to push American records. Very few English records got through unless you were Mickey Mouse at Rat Records or Elton John at Rocket Records. There were very few English artists promoted. It was bad. It got so bad actually that promoters were actually leaving piles of records at the BBC door because they knew that BBC wouldn't even listen to them. It was really awful. So I was so angry that one day I got a placard saying BBC unfair to British artists and paraded up and down outside BBC House, the old BBC House, for a whole day because I was so angry. At least I did my little bit.
Take me down to the riverside. Take me back to the place I found you. Take me down to the riverside and tell me you'll be mine again. I saw you there by the riverside. I saw you smile and the sun was shining. Here you started walking by my side, and everything was going my way. 'Cause you were mine. Take me down to
I also became a session singer, and I did that for quite a few years. I did sessions with Kiki D of I Got the Music in Me, and as I said, Roger Cook. And I met a lot of luminaries of the time, and Sarah Vaughan. I met George Harrison as well, very nice guy. I met the Hollies. Alan Clark was really, really down to earth. I really admired him for that. The Pink Floyd sessions, lots of people. I really went. Kathy Kirby, just went on and on. So there was all that. So I did quite a lot of session singing.
Very impressive, Laurice. Session singing was good, but why did you not sign any recording contracts, Laurice?
I was offered 7 recording contracts in 1 year.
Really?
I didn't accept any of them. Reason being is, and I knew that they would probably bury me. It's an old trick in the music business.
Oh my goodness, how awful. Shelving? Yes, I've heard of it, but 7 recording contracts? Amazing.
They do this constantly. If they think that somebody is a rival to somebody they're pushing, they will sign you up and bury you. Nobody will ever hear of you ever again. And I wasn't going to let that happen to me. Although I have to say, at one particular record company, they tried some sexual ploys on me and it didn't work. I was disgusted.
Oh no, that must have really put you off.
I sound like a Victorian virgin, but, but I mean, it really was bad. Everything you've ever heard about the music business, it's true, folks. It's true. Anyway, that was that. It was.
What a shame. That doesn't flatter the music industry.
I'm glad I did that training. My voice was, I could do anything. In fact, if Madeline Bell, Dusty Springfield's girlfriend at one time, and she did all these up and down scales, I'd do that if she wasn't there. And they were kind of astonished to see some blonde white kid sounding that to black artists.
the riverside. Take me back to the place I found you. Take me down to the riverside and tell me you'll be mine again. Come on down to the riverside. Take me back to the place I found you. I need you. Take me back to the riverside and all the things that you do.
But I could do it. I really enjoyed doing that at the time. It was fun. It really was.
I'm sure it was fun, Laurice. You are a versatile singer.
Well, yes, that's right.
Your YouTube videos on your YouTube channel prove just how vocally flexible you are.
That's the truth.
So, Laurice, why did you decide to leave the UK for Canada?
Well, I decided to leave for Canada because things were never the same with my mother after I told her I was gay. And apparently, I heard years later she would go around town saying, 2 out of 3 isn't bad, meaning my 2 sisters, they were okay. I wasn't, which was not very nice.
That's outrageous, Laurice.
What did you say? I was at a party in London with some friends, and somebody told me that Toronto was the place to be for music. I had never heard of that before, but I decided, okay, maybe I should look it up.
Of course, there was no internet in those days to check on Canada or any other country.
So I emigrated in 1975. It was a really hard slog because, let me tell you, immigration was closing in London at the time because of the unrest in various countries around the world, but particularly what was happening in London.
The UK sounds as if it was in a crisis at that time.
The IRA were throwing bombs around in 1974. There was a bread strike, an energy strike, a miners' strike. It was awful there. It was real chaos. And I wanted to get out.
I can understand why you would want to leave if there were very little openings for British artists at that time in the UK.
So I was involved in a lot before I left England. It was really quite something, a mixture of gay activism and music at the same time.
So how was Canada, Laurice?
Sexy baby, ready to blow. No one around to help you so. Pick up the phone now, that's real smart. I can fix those throbbing parts. Whatever you want, whatever you need, just sex me. Hormones ranging through the night. Burn it up now, just hold tight. I can give you quick release. Satisfaction guaranteed. Whatever you want, whatever you need, just sex me. Oh, sex me when you're feeling high. Sex me, come on, give me a try. Sex me to the nasty leave. Sex me, see I'm on my knees. Whatever you want, whatever you do, just sex me. Sex me.
Christine, Christine, When Christine comes around, I'm gonna smash her face in. When Christine comes around, I'm gonna hang her high up on the ceiling. When nobody can hear her urgent screaming. When Christine comes around, I'm gonna make her sorry she's been living. Now Christine was a beautiful girl. Christine had my heart in a well. Her eyeballs sitting neatly in its socket. I think I'll rip it out and put it in my pocket. It wouldn't do that. When Christine comes around, I'm gonna smash her face. And when Christine comes around, I'm gonna hang her high up from the ceiling. When nobody can hear her as you're screaming. When Christine comes around, I'm gonna make her sorry she's been living. Suck it to me, sugar. When Christine comes around, I'm gonna give her back what she's been given. Come up and see me sometime. When Christine comes around, I'll make it very clear she's not forgiven. Promises, promises.